I talk a lot about Thomas D'Arcy McGee. I've been by the plaque it's on Queen Street in Ottawa, so 1 block south of Spark Street, 2 blocks south of Parliament, approximately the site where he would have been assassinated in 1868. James Whelan was arrested, he was convicted, and he was hanged. But there was some kind of debate. Either James Whelan was a Fenian, or if in fact the Fenians were responsible for Thomas D'Arcy McGee's death. From your perspective, being a scholar on this movement, was T.D. McGee in fact killed by a Fenian terrorist / freedom fighter?
We will never know with absolute certainty, but there is, to me, overwhelming circumstantial evidence to indicate that Jim Whelan was indeed a Fenian. Certainly in sympathy, if not actually a sworn member of the Fenian Brotherhood, although I suspect he was that as well. And there is overwhelming circumstantial evidence that McGee was assassinated by Fenians. Whether he was actually assassinated by Jim Whelan, which is a slightly different question.
Yeah, I've seen some of the debate on that, whether or not he was actually the guy that pulled the trigger.
Yeah, now one thing I think we can say for sure is that this was not an authorized Fenian hit from New York headquarters. There was actually a Fenian assassination squad in Dublin, but there seems to have been no equivalent to that in New York, where Fenian headquarters were. But I think what you have is Jim Whelan and a group of his friends, and they're artisans basically. Whelan's a tailor. Some of his friends are beer carters. They hang out in Kate Scanlon's pub in Montreal, and which is McGee's base. And they hate McGee. There's just a lot of evidence. And there was a very hard-fought election after Confederation, where there's actually, I'll just elaborate on this a little because it's a very interesting story. McGee's principal opponent in this election, Montreal West, was a man named Barney Devlin. Now, in 1848, a group called the Irish Republican Union from New York had ideas about invading Canada, back then in 1848. And Barney Devlin, a young lawyer, went down to New York, Vauxhall Gardens, and gave a speech in which he said, "We invite you to come up. Come up, and you'll always get a cadmil fulcher from us. You'll get 1,000 million welcomes from us." I said, "I can't see any more than that because I'm going back to Canada, but come and join us. You'll be very welcome." So now in 1867, with Fenian support, Barney Devlin says, "I am the same person now that I was in 1848. McGee's turned traitor, called him a traitor, but I'm the same." So this was a viciously fought election. On the one side, Barney Devlin and his Fenian supporters threatened to break heads. This is public polling, so it's no secret ballot.
Right.
On the other hand, McGee's financial friends threatened to fire people who voted for Barney Devlin. So there's economic intimidation on one side and physical intimidation on the other. And in the course of this, McGee wrote a series of articles in which he exposed Fenianism in Canada using Secret Service reports. And once he did that, the outrage among Fenians and Fenian supporters in Montreal and in Canada generally, and indeed in North America generally, was intense, because McGee had committed the greatest sin an Irish person could commit. He was consorting with informers and drawing on their information.